Welcome, fellow Tarnished, to Dark Fantasy Games, a channel dedicated to Elden Ring and the dark fantasy genre. In this video, I'm going to be sharing a few tips with you on how to defeat Adan Thief of Fire. So if you are new to this type of game or you're just struggling with this boss, then these tips might help. You will find him in the Liurnia of the Lakes region, and this area is called the Malefactor's Evergale. These are a form of mystic prison. You may have come across them before, and when you interact with them you will be entering a boss dueling arena. This can be found by going from the Stormhill Shack that you find quite early on, north under the bridge and over a dilapidated bridge, dropping down to the left at the end. Coming back on yourself, you will find this trail that takes you round the side of the castle and leads you to a few sites of grace. If you was to go up onto the hill above Liurnia Lake Shore's site of grace, you will discover this. Now I'll start by using a Flask of Wondrous Physic, which increases my strength, and then was able to get off a Flame of Redmanes, which is an Ash of War that I'm using on my sword. I did find with this boss that it is good to try and keep a bit of distance, and the Ash of War worked really well for this particular boss, as it had with others, because you're able to keep some distance from them. So some of these bosses will do an awful lot of damage at close range. The thing that makes this guy a little bit more challenging is those fireballs that he's using there do a massive amount of area of effect damage if you get caught within the blast radius, and they also leave a fire trail on the floor as well, which will also damage you if you then try and walk through it. On my first few attempts with this boss, those fireballs were pretty much one-shotting me, so they're very powerful, but that will be based on your character stats, you know, how much your fire resistance is on things like your armor and your shield, which would potentially make a difference if you was to be hit by those. You could potentially use things that increase your fire resistance if you've got consumables, but for me personally it was more about patience, waiting for him to do attacks where I was able to get off my Ash of War, or maybe get a hit or two in on him towards the end of the fight. Patience was key with this particular boss, and not being too aggressive. The first few tries where I tried to be too aggressive, I was just getting annihilated, because he is not only swinging a very powerful mace but also using those fireballs. He will heal once in the battle, which recovers probably about 20% of his health, not a massive amount really, but enough sometimes to give him an edge if you've already healed and used all your flasks of Crimson Tears. There is a small window to be able to attack him when he does start casting those fireballs, but the thing I found quite difficult was sometimes he's got fireballs already in the air when he then starts casting more, meaning that if you're going to try and get in close to him to get an attack in, they sometimes will explode and actually kill you. So it is again about a little bit of luck maybe on the timing of if he hasn't got any of the fireballs in the air when he's casting, to be able to get a hit or two in. But I do think people using sorceries and staffs are able to get off glintstone sorceries at distance with this particular boss would probably have more of an edge over him than someone like me who's running a melee build character. He didn't really seem that tanky though, to be honest with you, so I think if you've upgraded your sword or whatever weapon you're using a few times, then potentially can do a fair bit of damage with him by hitting him with a melee weapon. But he is quite agile, and that mace does an awful lot of damage. So there's one of the attacks he does that gives you an opening. When he slams the mace down, there is a bit of a pause at the end, and at this point, by being patient, we were able to defeat him. Now the great thing about beating this boss is you will get the Flame of the Fell God, which was that incantation he was using. This is a very powerful incantation, but it will require Faith level 41, so it could take you a while to reach that level depending on where you've been spending your runes. But just from the amount of damage it was doing to me, I think this is going to be a great incantation to do a massive amount of damage. If you have managed to defeat this boss, then let me know in the comments down below how you did it. Let me know if you found any of these tips in this video helpful to you if you was finding this boss hard. So this brings us to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And before I go, I'd just like to say, may you be blessed with a curseless journey.